Okay.
Okay, and let me bring up this. Can you guys see my screen? I know you probably can't.
Yes.
Junior. You dialed in.
Yeah, Junior
Yeah, I
can.
got it, but I have my computer up right now. So
Oh, okay. Okay, cool. So, somebody else just came in. Who else
Junior
came in?
came in. He's in here twice.
Okay. So, let's start off tonight. If anybody has had any wins, there's Junior.
Right here.
Anybody has had any wins so far? Because I know it's early, but has anybody had any wins? Any good things that have happened?
I will actually find out tomorrow. Just because we have a lunch meeting tomorrow. So today I was at Promethean dealing with some other stuff because I'm going to be in San Francisco for several days. But we had a great meeting with our kids on Wednesday, and I left them with a lot of homework and different things. They've been working through some stuff and has been getting back to me about some of the things that they've been working on thus far. So tomorrow I actually get to visually see some of this, and Wednesday we're going to consolidate it all and place it on the wiki space.
Awesome. Excellent. Anybody, Natalie, I know your biggest win is you're very close to getting unblocked, huh?
Yes. And my students have been really motivated by the keynote speaker. That was awesome for Angela to share all of that excitement, because my students have just had that forward thought of, oh, this is really real. And I know it's kind of silly, but it's nice. And so I had a late student came in, and I said, oh, you didn't get to see Angela? Take my Mac, go out in the hall. And he watched Angela in the hall. And so it's like coming together, and the students are getting excited. It's just, working through some technical issues. And I think we're going to be on there this week. I'm hopeful.
Cool. Okay, and I hope those listening in will share to the Google group their wins. Also, please make sure you're in the Google group. If you have questions, sign into Skype. Lisa and I try to check in on that to answer any troubleshooting questions. So if you have something you need fixed right that moment, Skype is a great place to go. You don't have to stay signed in all the time, but it is where you want to go for immediate answers. But do make sure you're on the Google group. We had 2 wins. One win was I had students create for me questions based upon Angela's keynote. I've been doing a series with George Couros, who wrote Innovator's Mindset, and he has shared some interesting facts that basically kids stop asking questions. And I did some research and found that kids in elementary school tend to ask more than 100 questions a day. It drops to 6, and then it drops to none by middle school. And so the question that people are starting to ask is, how many good questions do kids ask in a day? And so we had a great conversation about why are kids not asking questions, and how does that relate to mattering, and why kids are not asking questions. So we had a great conversation on that. Today, we celebrated Mattering Monday, since I felt like we were a little bit ahead, and I didn't want us to get too far ahead of everybody. And I gave everybody an index card to share with somebody. We sent mattergrams to people on campus, and I asked them to express a positive compliment to someone who was not in their inner circle of friends, or an adult that could not be me. And that was amazing. I actually had quite a few adults tear up, and they just thought that was incredible. But we had a wonderful conversation about mattering, because the challenge is that some kids know they matter, right? And they're clueless to this thing about, why does somebody need to feel like they know they matter? And then I have some kids who suffer from depression, who every day they ask why they matter. So we actually ended up, my curriculum director sat in for a while on a very important, great conversation. And we're very transparent about how social media makes them feel like they don't matter, because they'll post pictures and people start posting negative things, and the messages people send to each other without meaning to, and how different kids perceive the world differently. So it was a great conversation to have. And my big thought was just to challenge all of you, as you talk to kids, to be sensitive to the fact that, you're more self-confident, super extroverted, type A, I'm on top of the world, everything is perfect with my life kids might think everything is awesome. And then you have other kids who really struggle with mattering. But there are some kids who are completely clueless about needing to feel like they matter. Does that resonate or make sense? Anybody want to say anything? You all see the same thing?
Yeah. Vicki, I wanted to share, after reading through the Wiki's discussion that you posted for the leading questions, I thought it was insightful just to listen. I didn't listen, I read. But to go through those, because what you just mentioned, that was a very ongoing topic of discussion from the student's perspective that I never thought of before. So that was, I really enjoyed the discussion feed. I took the time to read that.
Yeah. And I'm in the process of reading those, but I would encourage you, Natalie, to respond, because when we're engaged, that really helps. So feel free to just jump in and say hello. It's funny because sometimes they won't even realize we're teachers. And that's great. I don't usually tell them. Junior, what did you want to add?
Oh, yeah, I was just, I guess I'm kind of a little confused here. Were the kids supposed to be added to the Google group or the Wiki space? Or to both?
Oh. The teachers are in the Google group. Just the teachers. That's
just the teachers.
Just you.
And the kids are on the Wiki space, and
the kids are on the Wiki space. So where they are right now, and I'll see if I can show you on my screen. Are y'all able to see my screen right now?
Yes.
Okay, so where the guys have been spending some time that Natalie's talking about is, I went to the wrong one. Oh, come on. Oh, I can go there that way.
Well, it's a very nice screen.
Okay, so where the kids are where she's talking about is this conversational, some of the questions.
Yeah.
And see, some of the kids added their own questions here. So your students can respond to these questions, or they can make their own questions. And, people are posting and answering. It looks like we've got some really good conversation. And I know a lot of these guys are not my kids. So this must be some of Amanda's kids. Wow. Teenagers are the scum of the earth. Do you see that?
Yeah.
Very interesting. And that's from a teenager. That's not, none of us have joined in. These are great conversations. Anyway, I'm going to spend some time going through and responding to these. Natalie, I did not even see that all these others have responded, which is fantastic that the kids are having these great conversations. But so Junior, this is where they're responding to the keynote. Again, this is optional because you only see them twice a week. You may choose to let them do this on their own if they want to, but this is responses to Angela's keynote. And these are different topics they've come on, but this is where we can kind of look and see, what are their heartbreaks and what's going. Now, the other thing my kids started doing today is they started commenting on your pages. So, Junior, your kids will have some questions in the morning or whenever you guys meet on Wednesday.
Yeah.
Some of them have started asking questions here of your kids. And then we have some questions going on. Natalie, as soon as your guys are up, we'll have some questions there. We'll have some questions for Susan. And then Flowery Branch had so many kids, and they did such a great job. I think they had 18 videos or 18 multimedia artifacts. So at the bottom, I told the kids to the discussion thread. So this would be like digital handshake first period. This kid is wanting to talk about that video. So I had them split up the videos so that every video will have some response to it. So that they know that they count. And then if you guys will do the same for me and my students on ours, the way you get there is you just go to the home page, and it's up at the top. And when you can see the school names, and as soon as Holy Trinity adds theirs, and as soon, Natalie, as you add your driver middle school stuff, we'll put you up here so that they'll know they're ready for comment. So that's kind of where we have those going. Any questions on the handshake piece? So we're just trying to help kids know that other kids are there, they're communicating. It looks like the keynote has far beyond exceeded expectations because those conversations look great. that are happening. So by having these conversations, what happens is kids are starting to understand this whole idea of mattering and that sort of thing. Does that kind of make sense, everybody?
Yeah, it definitely does. I know some of my kids were waiting to kind of get on the discussion board, and I guess that's my fault. So am I the one to be adding them onto this, or should I be sending a message to?
They can join. There is a join code. You can email them this link right here. Mm-hmm. See this address right here?
That's my fault. I remember you speaking about that previously.
So this link you can email, and you can post in your little private place. Or Lisa Durf, if you'll email that through the Google group or just directly to Junior so he has it.
I will do that.
They can get on now. We have complete control. So if somebody does something we don't like, we can always, remove it. But they have to be a member of the wiki to make discussion comments.
Okay.
So feel free to go ahead and let them go.
Awesome. They'll be on.
Yeah. It's just interesting. Some of my kids were coming in after school, and now I see why they're doing that, because they're starting to get other kids from other schools respond. So that's great. That's wonderful. And we got 162 members, and we've still got more to join. So we may have over 200 kids in this project. That's great. Okay. Any other questions about Handshakes? So you just, anything they want to upload that you allow, upload it. Other kids comment. I've told them to give a genuine compliment and ask a good question about every handshake. Questions on handshakes, anybody? Nope. Okay. Blogging. Okay. So we will want to discuss, this is something we need to discuss, and we're just going to have to discuss it with the four of us, since, and the others will have to share through the Google group. The blog part is up on the Mad About Mattering main site. It's WordPress. They have sent around a spreadsheet, and I will admit I have not put mine in yet. I lost my hard drive last week. I still don't have it back, but I'm manually typing in all my students, since all that kind of went poof somewhere. But we need to give them our students if we're going to have them blogging. And the question we wanted to ask, because we wanted to make sure this was set up right, I was thinking that we would want to approve our students before their blog posts went live. Yes?
Yes, I definitely agree with that.
Okay. Natalie, you agree? Okay. Please include your username and password for you guys too. I'm going to give them my username for WordPress and just let them invite me that way. And then we'll get that going. Originally, what we were going to do is kind of do Keynote and then have all the kids write themselves about their own heartbreaks and then have them group together. I'm worried we're going to get behind, and we should probably just stay on the wiki and then at some point in March have them blog, because we don't want to overwhelm them with too much, and some of the kids are not on the wiki yet. But I need to get your guys' feedback about that. If we get them all added to blogging, and maybe we have something where they can share their opinions or thoughts in early March as an optional blog. I mean, once they're on the blog, guys, you can have them blog as much as you want them to. I mean, if I see we're getting too far ahead, I'll go ahead and have them on blog. But what are your thoughts? Get everybody going on the wiki and get good and solid on the wiki before we move to blogging? Thoughts? Natalie, you want to say your thought, and then Junior?
I think my students would be overwhelmed. I think that was a good, reflection, just to think of where I'm at right now, and having them get on the wiki and then realizing we're introducing the blogging. It may just go, now where am I supposed to? Yeah, it might be a little confusing for them.
Now, if we can't get your kids on Wiki Spaces, then I would say go ahead and get them blogging about their heartbreaks, and then we can use the RSS off the blog to pull it over to the wiki. So I can do some geeky stuff to pull that over to the wiki. So that's your backup, Natalie. If you cannot get them on the wiki by tomorrow, go ahead and give that stuff to Chris Arentz. We'll get them on the blog, and we'll pull that stuff over, Lisa and I will, with an RSS feed. And they'll be on the wiki to share their handshake and get a response. Does that sound good?
She's the one who knows how to do that.
Yeah. Okay.
That's Wiki.
Junior, what do you think about Wiki, blog, that sort of thing?
I'm in total agreement. Now, this blog, is this different from the Crescerence blog? Or is this going to be the same thing?
This is madaboutmattering.com has a blog.
Okay.
And we are going to share with the world about as we blog. So this is Christy has blogged, and a few other people have started blogging. So this is our blog right here. See it?
Yep.
So we have a blog, and I'm going to go ahead and start blogging as a teacher and sharing, because our whole goal was to share with everybody how this works. Now, I'll tell you what the Microsoft people said when they met with Angela and when they emailed me. I've got a meeting with one of the people in charge of coordinating the mentors for us. They said, let's figure out a way to let the whole world notice these kids. So that's their intent that they want to do. So, we're not going to use that as pressure on ourselves, because we're doing fine. Let's get the kids on the wiki. Let's get them going. They're going to be fine. But the blog is just kind of a way for the kids to have their own voice. Okay, so this is where we'll be blogging.
And this is what Catherine set up, correct?
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
Yes.
All right, I just want to make sure we're on the same page. Okay.
Yes. Yeah, we just have two places. So we have our wiki and our blog. Okay. Now, what's going to happen is after we form our teams, which we're kind of doing through the wiki, then I'll be providing to Catherine, we'll all be providing, these are our teams, and these are the mentors, and I told her I wanted all of the teachers to have access to all of the teams in MadLearn. Okay, so we're all supposed to have access to all teams. But each team, they're having to do something really special for us. So this is going to be a separate login from our current MadLearn stuff that we have. So a lot of us already have MadLearn. We're going to have one big massive school that is Mad About Mattering. We're all going to be in there together, and they're going to be dividing the kids up, and they just wanted to have the kids separate so they couldn't tear each other's apps up, and we didn't have mass chaos. So out of the wiki, we're going to have these teams come, and we're going to give them the names of the kids. So what they're going to be doing, I'm going to go ahead and move to this. What they're going to be doing after we, are happy with the keynote responses, and we've got our handshakes going, we're moving to heartbreak mapping. And looks like some people have already got a lot of stuff going here, and I hadn't even looked on these pages. My goodness, some are getting going. I wonder who made this page. Some people are making some crazy pages. Let's see who this is. This is, I'm looking at revision history.
There were some people doing recent changes this evening.
Yeah. Some people have been working tonight, huh?
Yeah.
We'll hit recent changes on the right-hand side, and you can see.
They need those kids.
Look at these kids.
They're going to.
So what does this tell you guys if we have this happening? What does that tell you guys? I've seen this happen before in groups. See, we're looking at the history. So we went to recent changes, top right-hand corner of the wiki, and we're seeing these kids edit, and we're seeing these times. What does that tell us?
They are fully engaged, active, and ready to go.
They matter.
Yeah, this is very typical for what you'll see. And actually, tomorrow night, we might see 30 or 40 or 50 or 60 doing this. And Lisa, we probably need to set up a classroom monitoring portal on NetVibes. Do you remember how to set that up?
Oh, my goodness. No, I don't.
Okay.
I don't think I ever did that. I think Teresa did.
Did I always do the CMPs? Or Teresa did it?
Yeah.
Will you email me and I'll put it in my OmniFocus and get that going, because I can set up an easy way for all of us to monitor this stuff, and I can do that. But anyway, this just shows us what's happening. The nice thing is you can filter here by username, you can filter by date, you can filter by all kinds of stuff. So lots of stuff going on here. Lots of good stuff. Okay, so we've got our student our heartbreak mapping, sorry. So what's going to happen, what I've got my students doing with their assignment this week is after they respond to the handshake, they're going to pick a heartbreak. And they're either going to pick one that's already there or they're going to pick their own. Oh, this is my student. Nicholas wants to talk about animal abuse, okay? So this is my student. He's a little ahead of the others. Precious young man. And we made this page together, and I helped him. And you can see he's added his name down here. And so what you want them to do is to use their pseudonym or their first name dash their school code. So what I'm telling my students is that if only 2 people per period can be on the same heartbreak, okay? 2 people per period. And once I have 4 WHS kids, I'll probably make it 5. Then they'll have to go on a different one, because I'm trying to push my kids to be on as many separate ones as possible. And you're going to want to make your own rules for that, but they will add their names here. This does not mean they are committed to this app. It just means this is the heartbreak that they're mapping right now. Okay, so that's kind of what's next. Now, have you guys been, the lesson plans I sent you last week, are those helpful or not? Did y'all see those through the Google group or not?
I didn't see them on the Google group. I did see the email that you sent off.
Yes.
The email that you sent off, and I thought it was beneficial for me, just to try to make sure that I was getting that out to the kids, especially since we're playing a lot of catch up on our end. So I kind of I'll send out a variety of emails to our kids, and they have been kind of working on some of that stuff and I think I used some of the wording and some of the things that you had to kind of help streamline and guide them.
Okay, so I'll send the stuff I'm doing this week then, the printout. I'm trying to figure out if I sent it to you guys. Did I send it out this week yet, Lisa, my plans for this week? Can you remember? For handshake and those things or not? No?
I don't think I got any email with any of that new information in it.
Okay, so I need to get you guys the lesson plans for this week. All the weeks run together. I'll send you what we're doing in my class, okay? And copy all you want and use what you want and don't use what you want. Okay, so now I've talked too much probably today. Let's see if I have anything else. We've already talked about that. I'm working on mentoring. Right now, it's just getting them connected, helping them realize the other schools are real, the people are real, and helping them just learn that these are real people and mattering is important. Like that's kind of, yeah. Questions, thoughts, feedback, concerns. Natalie or Junior?
Go ahead. Junior just muted himself. I just feel like tomorrow morning is going to be it's going to be a moment of making sense of where my students are going to go for direction, whether we stay wiki or we go blog. And I know that they could get both of the sites open. It was just a case of joining the wiki space, because that's what they said the filter was blocking, was the join code. And like, this is like the most silliest thing I've ever experienced, but I'm just going to, I'm patient and kind. I know the IT is trying to do what they can do. And I know you've done on your side, like you've been wonderful, just knowing to make that connection and contacting Adam. I really appreciate that. If they can work something behind the scenes and figure out something and shoot it off to Jonathan Butler, who's our IT, that would be wonderful. Like if we could get this solved. My boys I have boys and one girl. I know that's saying it's that whole coding thing. I think it is statistical, but I don't know how many girls you have in your groups, but mine's limited. So anyway, I feel good about that. And that's my starting point. So when I get to school tomorrow morning, I'll be touching base and I'll Skype. And that's really my go-to place. It solves a lot of my issues and it's a sounding board for me during the day. And it helps me get through my day when a lot of things are silly. So thank you.
And do not feel alone. We've been dealing with this problem for 10 years, Natalie. 10 years. 10 years of our projects. And I think Lisa and I have been working together for 8. And this is very, very typical. And you stuck with it. So I'm very proud of you for sticking with it. Your kids will get there and then they'll have you to thank for their lives changing. Okay, Junior, how about you?
I'm just extremely excited. I feel like the ball has gotten rolling on our end. Although I know it was kind of a start for us, but it seems like the kids are kind of really picking up. So we had our after we had our meeting, they watched the keynote and they extremely enjoyed it. Some of our kids are involved in like multiple things. So Wednesday is a track day, but some of the kids went like to track practice and came back in the room all sweaty and stuff. And they're like, okay, what did I miss? So they're kind of like, they're all over the place, but they're like fully engaged. And we created, I think Catherine set up their accounts on the Mad About Mattering, and the Crescerents, on the Crescerents mobile app platform. So they were kind of excited about that as well, because I actually had to train them just to kind of deal with that and allow them to play around with that. And that also seemed to excite them. I think a lot of things kind of made it more of a reality for them. And I think that's the part that I kind of enjoyed the most about what it was that it was doing for them. And it was no longer like a thought. It was no longer like, hey, we're kind of doing this. It's kind of like, okay, all right, where do we go next? So the kids are excited. We're going to be meeting during lunch tomorrow. And then we also are going to meet on Wednesday. I have certain deadlines and assignments for them, so we're going to kind of see how that goes. I'm going to send them the invites to the Wiki Space and kind of let them know they have some questions already waiting for them and that they should fully be engaged and share some of the thoughts that they shared with me on the discussion for the keynote.
Awesome. Well, I think that the one thing that impresses me about all the educators who are involved in this is what go-getters, because every single educator, even Susan, who's not with us tonight, she had an accreditation meeting. And, who's our other person we're missing? How can I forget her? Huh? I can't.
Dawn?
Dawn. Yes, how can I forget Dawn? She and I had an hour-and-a-half conversation because she had to go to bat to get this done all the way up to her superintendent. So every single one of you who made the cut, you really had to fight for this. And I think sometimes when you fight for things, you appreciate them more. Believe it or not, I've had to fight for it on my end as well. Just complacency and, we've never done this before. And they know what happens when Miss Vicki does a new project. They know that things start happening and sometimes film crews come on campus and all that. But they also know how hard the kids have to work. So, I'm sorry, my dogs bark when the sirens go by. But, poor puppies. I'm sorry. Anybody else have anything to say? I'm going to mute me for a second. Okay, they're done. I have 4 dogs. But anyway, I just want you guys to be encouraged and realize how far we've come. We are this close to really starting. We're pushing it up the hill, and we're probably halfway up the hill. And after about a week and a half, it's going to start like this. And that's when, Lisa and I in the past have always gone, wee, like you're on the roller coaster and you hit that and you're like, yay. And then you have to catch up with the kids because they're like running in a million directions and you're like trying to keep them focused to the right direction. So we'll get there. I have in my mind all the way through May, and if you ever want to know what's next, I'll tell you, but I'm just trying not to overwhelm everybody and just take us one step at a time. So if we can keep coming to the meetings, listening to the meetings, I'll promise I'll make it a good use of your time. Any other questions? It's 7:30 and I think we're about wrapped up.
I actually have a quick question. In regards to the usernames for the wiki spaces, should the kids be trying to keep it consistent with what they're going to be using for the Mad About Mattering blog, just for identification purposes, or?
It would be far easier. The problem with my students is we had already joined a wiki way back when, so some of them joined the wiki spaces 2 years ago. Some even use their full names, which they weren't supposed to do, but then you can't really change it. So I'll have different names for mine, but you'd want to use your code if at all possible. So we each have a code on that home page, and I'm telling my students always use WHS. So when we set up the blog stuff, it'll be Nicholas WHS or whoever WHS. So if you can just use that 3-digit code somewhere, that's going to help all of us figure out whose students are whose.
Okay.
Does that make sense? And if you keep them consistent, that's ideal for you as the teacher to have them consistent. Unless they've already joined Wikispaces, but they haven't already used Wikispaces for you, have they?
No, they haven't.
Oh, so you can keep yours consistent and that'll be fine. That'll make it life easier. Yep.
All right.
Okay, what else? That was a great question.
Nothing else?
Cool. And y'all, if you want to do mattograms are awesome. That's an Angela Myers idea. You just take an index card and you write, and we wrote hashtag mattogram on the top of ours. And they just wrote who it was to. They wrote them a couple sentences and then they signed their name and we grouped them together and different people delivered them. So if we had a group of 3, somebody came and said, lunch lady, you got 3 mattograms today. We just want you to know you're important, and then handed it to them. And it was like, our janitor, who's so wonderful, got like 6, and he was just, our lunch ladies, they were tearing up. They're like, somebody thanked me. And the kids were like, I can't believe that people tear up. Like, they don't know they're important to us. And I'm like, they don't if you don't tell them. So, that's just a little side thing, but it just gets them excited. Okay, so Lisa Durf, anything you want to add, Miss Hero in the background? Can't hear you. You're talking to muteness. Lisa is just, we can't hear you. Okay, she's just going to type to us. Okay, so I guess, guys, we're done. We can't hear you, Lisa. You need some new batteries or something. If we don't have anything else, then we will conclude. Lisa, thank you for all that you do for us behind the scenes. We love you very much, and we're very grateful for how hard you work during the day and that sort of thing. So you just do a lot for us. And thank you to all of you. Thank you to Dawn and Susan, who I know will be listening. And let's keep in touch. This is going to get going faster, and we're going to be really excited. I'm just proud of all of you, and it's an honor to be able to work with all of you guys. Thank you. I'll stay if you have any questions. You can stop recording, Lisa.